Right, hello everybody, Chieftain here, and welcome to a brand new Elden Ring series. So, originally we're going to title this How to Play a Prophet. Now that is a slightly misleading title because, well, it's not, we are going to play a Prophet for sure, but it's not really a walkthrough as such. It's going to be a Let's Play in a similar vein as the Erdtree playthrough we just wrapped up last week. But what I want to do, I will of course endeavour to be as informative as I possibly can. I mean, I've put something like 1,000 hours into this game at this point. Like, you won't have seen all those, but I've been playing it a lot. I'm still very much addicted. Think about it, the game got in March or end of February. I feel like it was March anyway. And I've been playing this game nearly every day. I'm still addicted as all hell, to be honest. I've been playing at various builds, watched a lot of videos. I've been experimenting with different aspects of the game, and I'm still very much addicted. So, logically, if I'm going to be playing it, I might as well carry on recording it, right? So we're going to start a new series right this moment. So I don't want to go too much into depth. We'll start talking about the build and what we're going to do as we progress into the game. But I will say for the moment, it's going to be a, well, including the thumbnail really, it's strength plus faith build. So we're going to be utilising various weapons and incantations, obviously, and seals. So we're going to try and cover as much as we can. We can't cover everything because really you've got, as a caster, you can, as a faith sort of build, you really have, you can either be pure faith, which is pure casting setup, or you can go down the arcane route. There's say dragon cult incantations and really, you know, work on bleed and things like that, or you can be a strength power stance kind of character like us, or you can do your dexterity route, in faith route, which is more like lightning based. Now we may evolve as the game plays, you may respec and try different things out, but really I know this build works. It's a lot of fun. We're going to use some of the most powerful items in the game, weapons wise, certainly. Anyway, I've waffled on enough. Without further ado, let's get into new games. So one of the first decisions we have, as always, is the character selection. Really, this is like a base stats for your character. Now, it's not really that important because they give you a slight help at the very beginning, but at the beginning of the game, technically speaking, or fundamentally, everything's pretty weak. So it doesn't really matter what you use, what items, what weapons. I mean, we started with the Wretch, the last playthrough, remember, and we did absolutely fine. So with a character sort of template set up, when you're geared towards a particular playstyle, you have a huge advantage of what we had the last time. But really, if you want to go, it really doesn't matter fundamentally, because you can, the way the loading process, I mean, if you think you start the game at level 6 or 7 and you go up to level 150 or more, you can build any character you want, really. So you can play your game, you can play your character you wish. But with that in mind, there are a couple of options we have, like ideal starting points for the kind of character we're going to go for. Now, the two of those are, we'll start with Prophet. We'll explain through this. So we go here. So one of the first choice you have is type A or type B. Basically, it's male or female. So we'll go type B. Type A. And we're going to type in a name quickly. I'll call him Bob. He'll do. Yep. So Bob the Prophet. Here we go. I know we'll plan for that. Just came to me at this moment. So we'll do Bob the Prophet. So Bob is a Prophet class, but I can explain if we jump into character selection. Now, really, if you want to do this kind of build, your main options are a prophet or a confessor, which is kind of your faith-based, your starting faith-based characters, mainly because they both have, or you can see, so we look at the confessor, he's more of a tanky build. He's already built up to be like a paladin type. He's level 10, he's a bit higher level than the prophet is. Vigor's pretty low, his mind's reasonably high, endurance is good, strength is good, dexterity is, yeah, he's more of an all-round sort of character. And he has reasonably good phase 14, but he would be a better class. And he has the finger seal, he starts with the broadsword, which is something we're going to build. We are going to seek out relatively early on in this playthrough. He's got a good shield. He's a relatively good character, but I tend to go with the Prophet for this sort of build. The reason is, starts a little lower, but he starts much level 7, so we've got a bit more room to grow. Now the vigor is 10, which is kind of one of our first priorities in the game. I mean, it's a very stat hungry build, no question, but especially the early games. So we're gonna have to be quite creative in how we build this character to begin with. Late game is not a problem. You got like 100 levels in you can do whatever you want. And this, by that point of the game, this character just decimates things. It's amazing. But so vigor 10, really want 15 to 20. 15 is your first skill, 20 is your, by level 50 you want to be 20 to 25 vigor, no question about it. Mind, he starts at 14 because really your prophet would be your kind of faith caster archetype, which we are going to use. We're going to make most of make as much use of incantations as we can. But we're also going to get in, not afraid to get stuck in. We're going to be walking around the broadsword and a shield. We're going to a great sword and a shield. We're going to do some damage to people, right? Which means our insurance of 8 is not that good, to be honest. We need to get that. I mean, late game we're going to be around 40 because we walk around with chunky armor, big shield, big sword. He's going to have super behemoth of a character, but at the moment he starts in a dress, so that's not so good. Strength is 11. Our strength, one of our primary goals, like strength-wise, is 16. We start 11. It's not, Confession would be a better build, as I said, but better start maybe. But I'm stubborn. I like to do what I like to do. I like the character level to start as low as possible, so we have as much room to grow. So what do we got? Dexterity. Dexterity is not really a key stat in this. I think the highest we're ever going to get in this build is 15. Now, depending on the talisman, we might be a little bit higher, but we only really need 15 dexterity. Intelligence 7, we don't need intelligence at all. There's a couple of situations where we might. For certain quests, perhaps. But we don't really need intelligence stats. We can always, like, a combination of talismans and items and like a flask of wondrous physique, we can boost intelligence to any number we need, as long as it's not that high. Faith is the important one. We started 16, and we won't really need to touch that for a while. I mean, I guess you first got soft cap if you like, be 20 faith, but our main goal to begin with is to get strength to match it, because we want late game your strength and your faith are going to be slightly skewed in faith's favor, but we want strength high because it's going to boost our physical damage and it's going to allow us to carry bigger weapons, and it's going to, it's just all right. Arcane we don't really need. I mean, we could, if you wanted to go switch and go get the Dragon Communion Seal, and you could really switch into sort of a more of a caster setup with the Dragon Communion, Dragon Cult incantations like the Dragon Breath, the Rotten Breath, that kind of thing. You can really do some fun with Arcane. We may dabble a little bit, but unless we respec pretty heavily, we really don't need that. So, but 10 is a decent number, because we gain with talismans and gear, we can get that to a reasonable number if we need to, but depending on certain situations, because there are some incantations that kind of useful to have that might require a little bit. So we're going to start with Prophet. Now, Keepsake. Now this is an interesting one. Obviously, you have the choice to start with none, which is I strongly do not recommend. Now you can start with the Crimson Medallion, Crimson Amber Medallion. I never read that properly. Which boosts your HP, but it's not really that good. And to be honest, you can buy it in the game anyway, and you can find a much better version. But that's a waste of medallion slot, if you ask me. You can start with, I think there's about 3,000 runes, which is kind of I mean, you don't. There's no land. Runes are not hard to come by in this game, so that's a complete waste. I mean, you're more than likely you're going to die and lose them straight away, so what a waste of time. Golden Seed is very powerful. This gives you an extra flask straight away. But I tend to err on the side that you're not going to be short of flask. In a very, very early game, maybe it's a bit of a problem, but very quickly you can build up. If you do a little like Golden Seed run, you can build a few flasks relatively early, so that's not a huge, it's not a problem. We also have the Fang Dimped Ashes, which are more unique ashes, I guess, but until we can actually summon them, they're kind of useless. Or at least that's my belief. I've never really started with that. You can start with a Stone Sword Key, which, depending on what you want to do, is relatively useful. But I mean, I tend to. You can find them, you can buy them. They're all over the map, so we will find plenty naturally. And we don't. It's not. There's nothing at the beginning of the game that is burning that you really desperately need a Stone Sword Key. We will find more. Wishing Branch? No, that's crap. This is what it is. Technically, it's no, that's a waste of time. Boiled Prawn. This basically is damage mitigation, but you only start with one or two. So I mean, what'll be the point, right? You can buy these in great supply later on, and to be honest, they're not. They only last a few, about a minute. Just starting with one. I mean, what's it going to do? Capri's Row. This is no, that's shit. No, we're going to discuss that. Disgust me. We're going to start with the Crackpot. Because this actually means we start with 3. Crackpots are very useful because you can use them, utilize them with crafting in the game. So what happens is, you typically, the most useful ones I've always found are fire pots, holy pots, things of that nature. So being able to start with 3 off the bat. I mean, obviously we have to have the ingredients, but having 3 straight away, because between there's a cave, you can find one very early on, and you can buy 3 off one of the early merchants. So you can have 7 crackpots, 7 fire pots. You can do a lot of damage, and especially early on. So we get some ranged incantations. That's really our kind of our ranged attack. It's like a preemptive, it's like a grenade, just throw it in, boom, and then just go in and clean up. And they're also incredibly useful for the Erdtree avatars, bosses that loiter around the Erdtrees. They're typically guarding Flask of One Physique tiers, you know, they like Crimson tiers and whatnot. They're a bucket to kill, but they're really, really susceptible to fire. So these are quite early on, but also very good for yeah. So we're gonna go jump that. Anyway, I'm not gonna waffle on about this. We actually have a template to use because I'm not gonna go through character creation with you all in depth. I'm gonna change his voice to mature because I'm mature. God, in age, perhaps not in attitude. If we jump down to load favorite, let's go. Yeah, it's 30. Serious looking man. Built like an absolute tank with little baby feet. You know, I noticed. Right, so we jump to that. That's all we really need for that. So we've got Bob the Prophet. Now, Bob, yeah, he looks like he means business, right? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into the game, shall we? Okay, boom. Yes.
The fallen leaves tell a story. The great Elden Ring was shattered. In our home, across the fog, the lands between. Now, Queen Marika the Eternal is nowhere to be found. And in the night of the Black Knives, Godwyn the Golden was first to perish. Soon, Marika's offspring, Demi Gods all, claimed the shards of the Elden Ring. The mad taint of their newfound strength triggered the shattering. A war from which no lord arose. A war leading to abandonment by the greater will. Oh, rise now, ye tarnished, ye dead who yet live. The call of long-lost grace speaks to us all. Horalu, chieftain of the Badlands, the ever-brilliant Gold Mask. Fear, the deathbed companion. The loathsome dung-eater. And Sir Gideon Ofnir, the all-knowing. And one other, whom grace would again bless. A tarnished of no renown. Cross the fog to the lands between. to stand before the Elden Ring and become the Elden Lord.
There you go. So this is the very start of the game. So before we really crack into get on with the let's play, if you like, let's have a look at the prop. We'll talk through his gear, starting gear. Now he begins the game with a spear, which is not a bad weapon. There are better options. It's got an interesting moveset. It's got a longer attack, so we do quite a jump. That's my favourite jump attack, really. We also have a couple of incantations. We start with the finger seal. Now you need, if you want to use spells, you need a sorceries. You need a staff. Obviously, with incantations, you need a seal of some description, sacred seal. And we start with heal, and we also start with catch flame. Now, catch flame is ridiculous. Actually, it's pretty chunky, especially if you upgrade your seal a bit, because our faith is pretty high for this age. This stage of the game, you can do some pretty cool things with that. The range of it is horrendous. Like it's pretty much it's like a melee weapon basically. So you got to be, when you use it, you got to be committed, but it will do decimate damage. Obviously, it is useful for weapons that enemies that we can't really injure with weapons that are immune to certain damage types. For instance, like the miners that are generally you need like a blunt like a mace or something or a hammer to hurt. Typically, will be destroyed by this catch flame. We also have a wicked shield, which is more of a parry shield, but I mean, I am absolute dog shit at parrying, so we basically pretend the shield isn't here. We're going to use it in certain situations because it's useful from time to time, but we are going to find some much bigger, better, more effective shields that don't rely on parrying because I'm shit at it. So let's move forward. We've got the message. Yeah, okay, fuck that. Finger. This is basically just for multiplayer. We are an offline game. This is, if you're here for sort of modular builds, you're looking at the wrong person. I've never played multiplayer in this game. No interest. I'm very much a PvE player. And let's move forward. So let's open this door. Yeah, let's move. So look at the ceiling. Look at it. This game. Graphics in this game never failed to amaze me, man. Baffle, amaze and astound. Yeah. We're going to follow that out. Coming up, we've got a very first kind of introduction to a boss of the game. We're not meant to kill it. I mean, you can try and injure it if you like, but I think the best thing to do is just let it destroy you, decimate you. Because I mean, if I practice enough, I could probably kill it, but I can't be bothered. We'll come back and get our revenge much later on when we are considerably more powerful than we are. He has got some good gear on him, but we can worry about that later. So, there he is. Hello, mate. Take that. He only has to hit us once or twice, and then we're dead, basically, so... Nah. Come at me, bro. Come on. We're basically dead, but... See? We just got no... Yeah. That was brief.
Don't worry, Torrent. Fortune is on his side. We found him here, after all. One of his kind is sure to seek the Elden Ring. Even if it does violate the Golden Order.
Okay, so we've got a flask of Crimson Tears. Now this is, we'll talk through this in a moment. Yeah, flask of Crimson Tears, these are basically your health potions, right? Then we have the flask of Cerulean Tears, which we use to restore FP. Now FP is basically your mana equivalent, you know, we've all played an RPG, right? So basically, as far as I'm concerned, I'll be calling them red pots or blue pots. I can never remember Cerulean Tears. So we're going to be past that. Now this is the tutorial cave, so to speak. Now up there you can see an item. That's actually a talisman, but we can't pick it up yet. We can actually come back to that later. It's not the best talisman in the world, but it's quite useful for resistances. But we have to ignore it for now. So you got to press on because that's I forgot how long these animations are to start. There's something else there. We'll pick that up shortly once we get through the cave. So let's just burn through. Now this is sort of an introductory cave. Let's drop down. Yeah, it's just to get you idea. The enemies in here are pathetically weak, but it gives you it gets you a few cheap runes, easy runes, and it gets you like, you know, used to combat in a rudimentary fashion. There's no way, shape, or form prepares you for some of the boss battles to come up. But anyway, we're coming up. This is a site of grace. Now these are basically like save points because in this game you can't actually save manually. You basically have a respawn point. So every time you die, you lose all your runes, whatever your gold, if you like, and whatever you accumulated, and you respawn at your nearest site of grace. So we're going to do that now. But you can also teleport between these across the map. But we'll cover that later. But the first thing we need to do is rest. So you touch the site of grace like so. And that means that we can now activate it. So if we can't look at the map, but it will. Well, yes, we can. I didn't really realize you could. Oh, interesting. Yeah. So as we fill up our map with more and more of these sites of grace, we can teleport to various ones once we activate it. Now you can also rest at it, as we see. So you can use it to pass the time. Now this is very useful because at night time certain enemies will appear. So sometimes you want that, sometimes you don't. Typically there are some interesting bosses, but we'll cover that. We'll cover that later. We're not going to be finding those now. We have flasks, so you have. With the golden seed we're talking about in the keepsakes, you can add charges to your golden flask. We haven't got any for the time being, but it just means it gives you more flasks. You can also increase the amount replenished by flasks. Now we can't do that at the moment because you need sacred tears for that again, which you will find. Probably not this episode, but next time we're going to do a bit of a run and just kind of gather some resources as we progress in the game. I want to get set up to get this character moving because we want to start burning through content really. Obviously, you can allocate flask charges. Now, this we are going to do now because we're more a caster-based setup. We're going to want more blue flasks in our favour, principally because we actually have a heal spell as well as a damage spell. So we can always, if we get caught short, we can always use a heal spell. It takes a bit longer to use than a flask. We can use all. We'll leave ourselves one. Yeah, we'll leave ourselves one flask of Crimson Tears, like an emergency. But normally we can use a heal spell if we need to. So we'll confirm that now. No, we will confirm. We will confirm. So let's go. Yeah. Let's put it on. Press on. I mean, we'll show you how shit the shield is too, but I don't really want to take damage. We'll talk through shield stats in a minute. Actually, no, I'll talk through it now. The reason why this shield is crap. If you look at the stats here, so we've got guarded damage negation. So physical damage reduction is 61. You want 100 physical reduction, not 61. 61 means every time you hold the shield up, you're going to take damage. It will block the majority of it, but 61% of the damage will be blocked, but you're still taking 39% of the damage, right? Which, on the bigger bosses, the harder hitters, that's just not acceptable. And the guard boost is terrible. Now, guard boost is, it's how much stamina you invest when you block. Now, ideally, you want to block and then preserve as much stamina as you can, so you can attack. You don't spend all your time blocking and have no energy left to counter-attack, right? 37 guard, which is awful. You want about 50, 60, and then upwards. I mean, I think the cap is about 70, so I can't forget what the official number is, but it reaches a point with enough guard boost and a actual wall called Barricade Shield, you can actually mitigate all the stamina damage you will take. Which means you can just block, smack, and it's great. We're not there. This shield, but these are the small shields. Now these tend to be, the Rocket Shield is a crap version. It's your basic one. There are much better ones out there, but basically it's for parrying. So the idea is for parry, as you are attacked by an enemy, there's a couple of frames. You have a little window in the frames where you can time your parry to interrupt their attack, which basically stuns them, and then you can do a critical attack on them. But I tend to use, if you do like a guard counter with your shield, it does the same thing. Like a big shield will block, and if they basically bounce off your shield, and then you can do the same thing without having to worry about timing. So I tend to err on the side of guard counters rather than parry, but that's because I'm just not, I'm not a young man anymore. My reactions aren't as quick as they used to be, so I'm just crap at it. No, let's not be doing the bush. Anyway, before we got to press on, time's running out. I didn't realise. Forget how long those animations are at the start of the game. But the story's immense on this game. The little that they tell you of it, anyway. But it does take up some time. I want to get into the bones of it, so let's just take out this guy. So, hey, as you can see, just one shot of me is pathetic. We get some free rooms, not many, but we got some. Let's take out him. Let's use catch flame on this guy, so we'll show you. Yeah, that's just mad damage. Now that actually does significantly more damage than our spear, but you can't. I don't actually have the official numbers, but it's great. It's very useful for other situations to take him down. We don't want to overdo it because we've only got so much FP, and I want to save it for there's a boss coming up. We won't burn through much in any case. But there's a guy up. We need to watch it. There's a guy up. He's going to try and hit with crossbow. I'll just do some panic rolling there for you. We pick up some royal fruit. We don't really need these right now, but I'm a kleptomaniac. Just back from my Skyrim days, I just can't help but pick everything. And this guy's got a great shield, or tower shield, should you say, which is a pain to take. And he's got a spear, which will do more damage. So the best thing to do on this guy is catch flame, because that will go straight through the shield. We could have timed the parries one about solid. It's just a good example. This is why catch flame is so useful. You can use it on so many different situations. It's so effective on enemies, I'll tell you. What else do we have? Let's go through our strong attack with the spear, like our L2, which is basically like your weapon skill, which I forget what's it called. Impaling thrust, which Impaler does. Hey, just pretty good. We're racking up a few at 116. That's so. Right, we've got to take down this guy. Nope. Him down. Right, let's go. Now he actually has that shield he's got. It's a brass shield. We want one of those eventually. We can't use it yet. We don't have enough skills for it. There is a number of places we can farm. I do want one of those shields. That's going to be integral to this build, at least for the first probably 50 or 60 levels. But we can't. Yeah, take some work. I'm not going to farm that right now. Go down. There is a shield we can buy. There's a shield we can pick up. Relatively look I think it's a Beast Crest heater shield we got from a camp, which is pretty good. But I tend to go for the I want to say blue crest. I can't remember what it's called. We'll find. You can buy it off a merchant basically, and that will do. It's not as good as the brass shield, but it's not better than what we have, and it will do for the time being. Primarily because its requirements are relatively low, both strength and dexterity, which means we can just pump. Because what we've got to do early on is just pump points into vigor. We want strength up to 16, give or take. Where is he? Hello. Bare minimum. Obviously strength will go up to 45, 50 by the time we get through the playthrough, but we need strength 16 early on. To use the brass shield and also to use the swords, because what I'm planning to use is a great shield. I'm actually planning to use the claymore, which we won't be able to use for a while, so we're going to make use of other swords and other weapons in the meantime, but claymore is kind of the bread and butter of this build for quite a chunk of the game. No. Ooh, critical strike, lovely. But leading up to that point, we just have to get by whatever we've got. So I don't want to. Oh, these are Stake of Marika. So whenever you die, so you notice that the green fog there, that's a boss room. So whenever typically you'd find a Stake of Marika outside one of these fog rooms, and what it means is when you die, you can respawn next to it. You're given the option when you die either to spawn next to a Stake of Marika, not bar one day, or the previous side of grave is typically because these are closer. Because sometimes you can, our last set of graves was miles back. We have to go through all that level to get here. So typically this is great. But there are few and far between. Typically outside boss rooms, sometimes various points you might find one. Anyway, so let's go take on this boss. Let's call this guy a boss. He's an insult to all bosses out there because he's basically just a soldier. Now he can do a lot of damage with that great sword. But we've just keep shot at him basically. Yeah, to call him a boss is an embarrassment. So we do get quite a few runes for killing him, so this will buy us a couple of key items we need straight away. So let's run up here. Yeah, when we come across our first merchant, there's a couple of items we need. A crafted kit and a torch. I'll explain why as we get some strength. Now this is a gesture. Now I never use these they're really more relevant for multiplayer. There's certain key points in the game where you can use the gestures to activate things. In particular, there's the erudite gesture, which you pick up from a character later on. That's at the academy, I think. And you need that. You have to wear a certain helmet, and you use the erudite gesture at these like wizard towers, if you like, erudite towers. What it means is they are very useful for us because they often they have access to more powerful spells, which aren't very good to us, but more importantly, they have memory stones, which allow us to have more spell slots. Or in our case, incantations. Oh, you can call them spells, because this game calls magic sorceries, isn't it? And faith-based incantations. So, but they're both spells in essence. But we want more, because at the moment we've only got 2 slots. We can, I can't show you, can I? No. We'll go through that next time at the next side of grace. But this is rare. Normally, these little trees signify a golden seed, which we need for more flasks. This is just, yeah. It doesn't have one. So every time I start a new game, I look at it, it teases me. I look at it, where's my golden seed, motherfucker? Where is it? Anyway, let's move on, because we are, what, half an hour? Jesus Christ. Waffle. I'll do waffle. I don't know how much content we're actually going to get through in this introduction, truthfully, because we've... Well, no, we can do a couple of things, actually. We won't get much combat, but we will get started. We've got another side of grace here. Now, this fog wall is guarded by an imp statue. This is actually a really good area. It's called the Fringe Folk Hero's Grave. And there are 2 really important items you need in here. Well, one in particular, but there is the Dragon Communion Seal, which is a sacred seal. If you are like a faith caster build, or really into Dragon Cult incantations, that seal is second to none, because it scales like arcane. You can just do some dirty things with it. And I believe it has no weight. I could be wrong, but anyway, if you're either a bleed build or using Dragon Breath and things, it is phenomenal. But we're not going to be using that. But also, you have the Erdtree's Favor, which is a talisman. Early on in the game, it is amazing. Later on in the game, I mean, it has varying degrees of usefulness, but at this stage, because what it does, it increases your health pool, your stamina, and your carry weight. Which, given the fact we have very little endurance, it's quite a mainstay. And we are going to try and boost endurance early. But our primary stat, I mean, vigor, it can't be stressed enough the importance of vigor in this game. People who don't level vigor, you're an idiot. You're going to need, end game, you're going to need 60 vigor minimum. If you're going to do multiplayer, you need 60 vigor. You need vigor. Otherwise, you're just going to get destroyed. And glass cannon is all well and good, but he wants to die over and over and over again. And you will die over and over again in this game. Make no mistake. But, won't make it worse for yourself, right? But these fog walls are guarded by an inch statue here. Now, I believe this needs, it's a double, so you need 2 stone sword keys. So even if we started with one you get at the beginning of the game, it wouldn't have helped as a keepsake. So, yeah, fuck that, basically. So let's drop here. I'll take this out of grace. We will come back here later. It's a terrifying place. It's a scary place. There's some cool stuff in there, though. We are going to try and track it early, but not for the moment. We need some... Oh, there you go. I think it's... Tarnish fossil. Yeah, no, don't need that. Again, these are all relevant to multiplayer, but we don't need any of that. This lift. Now, the lifts in this game are slow as shit, so we just have to endure this. So let's stand on this. There are certain points in the game that have some very, very, very long lifts into the deep roads or whatever, so you don't want to worry about those. They are. This is slow enough. Some of them go for 142 years, which you don't want to do. Yeah. Let's move forward. So we're about to this now. As you open this door, this is your holy shit moment. This game is beautiful. Look at it. Look at this. Look at this. That's your thumbnail, right? Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. It's like coming out of the vault in Fallout, It's just like, wow, my god. Anyway, down there is one of the infamous first bosses. This is the Tree Sentinel. Now, you don't want to fight him. But we do. As a faith build, his, like, weapon uses is amazing, but he will shit all over us for quite a while. So we can ignore him. I mean, you can kill him. You can, if you are determined. There are other people that are better at this game than me that can. We're gonna give it. I choose life. So we're gonna progress. So we're gonna pick up another sort of grace here. And we're gonna speak to this chap here. This is Vare. That's his own quest line, but at the beginning, what he's gonna do is introduce us to a couple of key concepts. He does go on a bit though, so feel free to skip forward. I wish I could, but I want to, someone might read it. Somebody might.
Oh, yes. Tarnished, are we? Come to the lands between for the Elden Ring? Of course you have. No shame in it. Unfortunately for you, however, you are maidenless. Without guidance, without the strength of runes, and without an invitation to the Round Table Hold, you are fated, it seems, to die in obscurity.
Pretty bleak. Thank you for that.
Luckily for you, however, there is one shining ray of hope for even the maidenless. Me. Vare. Take care to listen. Are you familiar with grace? The golden light that gives life to you tarnished. You may also behold its golden rays, pointing in a particular direction at times. That is the guidance of grace, the path that a tarnished must travel. Indeed. Grace's guidance holds the answers. It will lead you tarnished to the path you are meant to follow, even if it leads you to your grave.
Pretty bleak, right? I think there's a couple of things to
Grace's
say.
guidance to Castle Stormvale, over on the cliff, the home of the decrepit Demi God, Godric the Grafted. It's time you set off, I should think, to Castle Stormvale on the cliff, where Grace would guide you, if you seek the Elden Ring, maidenless as you are.
Right. So if we look on the map, this is what he's talking about. This just gives us. I mean, I wouldn't pay too much attention. This basically points in the right direction, to speak. Our main direction is here. We do want to get the map, but we're not going to get that in this episode. Although we might. No. We are running out of time. So we're going to give this boss a wide berth. If RA comes up later, no, ignore them. He kill some sheep. Don't need to, but they do drop beast liver, which is useful. No, we're not going to chase him down. I'm not playing that game, dude. No. So there's rune fragments here, which are used for crafting, which varying usefulness to us, but as I said, I'm a collector maniac. Now we're going to give that. Terrifies me. Even when you're quite strong, it's a pain to fight. It's just absolutely poor. Like now, go on the beach. No, focus, not bar, focus. So. This is Carle. This is our first merchant. Before we speak to him, we're actually going to rest at the site of grace. I am actually going to rest here, just to, yeah. Actually, we can go through these spells here. We can show our spell slots. We've already got 2 to choose from at the moment, but as in, obviously, with more memory stones, we can build up more slots. We need really about 5 or 6 for the incantations that I want, because there are buffs and there are damage dealing. Well, we've got a lot of ground to cover actually in this playthrough, honestly. So here, this glowing thing here, this is actually a smithing stone which we can use to upgrade both our weapons and our seal. Now we can't do much with one because typically you need, well, I can show you it. You need a minimum of 2 to upgrade one, and at the smithing stable we can only upgrade to +3 ourselves. If we want to go take a weapon or seal any higher than that, or a shield in fact, any higher than that, we have to actually go visit a blacksmith who, well, there's only one actually for a while, so we'd have to go. We won't be able to speak to that to go to the Round Table Hold, which is, as you know, I imagine, is a little way off. We can trigger it manually, but we won't be able to do it for a while. But we'll kind of, yeah, we'll ignore that for the moment. So we're going to speak to our little man here, Carle. Hello.
You're a tarnished. I can see it. And I can also see that you're not after my throat. Then why not purchase a little something? I am Carle, purveyor of fine goods.
So what's he got about Carle?
I am of a nomadic people, selling wares as I travel. The land has been tainted by madness since the shattering of the Elden Ring. It's only tarnished like yourself, who keep things from drying up entirely. Let's say you're a very welcome customer.
A recommendation.
You know, if you can spare the runes, you should buy yourself a crafting kit. A crafting kit allows you to make basic items on your own. Essential, really. if you intend to survive out here for any duration. The kit costs a bundle, and I admit I do take my cut. But the important thing is that you survive. Every customer counts, after all.
Thank you. And he's right. These are the first things we can get. Now, look, if you look at his wares quickly, so he's got throwing daggers, which are, well, they scale with dex mainly and a bit of strength. They are no use to us whatsoever. I mean, they're useful for picking off, like packs of dogs. You can pick off enemies off the pack, out of the pack to take out manually. But I mean, we have a telescope these cells, which is, I mean, this is very situational. You can use it to kind of I spy, but practical use is, I would say, negligible to none, unless you really want to, like, if I was to explain something to a viewer, I could perhaps, point out using the telescope, or we could just run up to it and see it ourselves. It's a waste of time. Felt calling finger remedy. This is entirely for multiplayer. We do not need that at all. Crackpots. We start with 3 with our build, and this gives us another 3. We will be coming back to buy these up because there's a cave we can use where you can get 1 extra, and then you can get another 3 from here, which gives you 7 fire pots early on, which is pretty good. That'll be kind of early range damage for us because we haven't got any range spells at the moment, or incantations. It's good. It's basically like a grenade. You just throw it in, does some damage, and you run in and clean up what's left. So, or 2 of those, you can kill things, and particularly the Erdtree avatar bosses, the guards, sort of the Crimson Tears, or the fuse of the flask of one of Zeke. They normally guard those. And a shit ton of runes generally, so you want to kill those, and they are very, very susceptible to fire. So that's until we're sort of strong enough to go mano a mano. Fire pot's pretty useful, pretty chicken shit, but I don't care. Crafting kit. Now this doesn't tell you here, but it does actually enable you to build fire pots, basic damage. So we're going to buy one of those straight up. I'll go through what else you craft with it. Now the other things he has are the pneumatic warriors. Oh, fun fact: if you wanted to know what's in these things, it's press X, yeah. If you press X or whatever your equivalent would be on your controller, it'll tell you what it's got. Now, this pneumatic warriors could be one. I mean, I'm going to buy. One day I will do a video and show you where all the locations of these cookbooks are, but it's like on my to-do list, and I can never get around to it. I'm too busy playing the game. But yeah, we can build bow and arrows, but yeah, that's crap. That's no use to us. This is more interesting. The glowstone is useful for lighting up areas, and you have invigorating cured meat and invigorating white cured meat. Actually increased, I forget whether it's robustness or vitality and such, but that's actually pretty good. But we can't actually make any of those yet because a lot of the ingredients you'll need are found in an area that's much later in the game. We won't even be able to get there yet, never mind farm ingredients, so there's no rush to buy that. But yes, those are actually pretty useful. It's also why I kill the sheep, because we'll need beast liver to make those. Or no, do we? No, I could be wrong. I might have got that. I always get those mixed up. We also have the missionaries cookbook, and this we are going to run back. We can't afford to run out because it's 1,000, which seems expensive now, but trust me, it's not. But that allows us to build holy water pots and roped holy water pots. Now, I never use the rope pots, but holy water pot, we're a faith build, right? So they scale with faith, so it makes sense. Certain enemies are really good at that. The catacombs and skeletons, and I forget. There are certain undead enemies that it's very helpful because you can kill them off. Because otherwise, you have to kill them and then re-kill them. But with holy damage, they just die for good. That's also useful. But what we really want, I mean, it sells armor, and there's nothing wrong with this, by the way. We don't have any armor, but the problem is, it just looks shit. So, pure aesthetics. The armor itself is not bad, but yeah, we'll find better armor. But what we want is a torch. Now, well, for a number of reasons. One, obviously, it's a torch that lights up dark areas, useful for caves. Now, later in the game, we can actually buy a lantern that you can strip to your belt, which will allow you to light up areas. But this is actually also a very useful weapon, because what it actually, well, I'll show you. It's the easiest way to explain it. So if we jump, yeah.
I'm glad you took my warning to heart. You've made an excellent choice.
Thank you very much, my good man. So if we jump to equip it, we're light enough we can carry 2 weapons, and it won't put us in a medium heavy load. So we jump to that. If we look at damage. So under character status, we've got attack power, right hand armament, which is the spear, that does 122 damage. But the armament 2 does 156. Now why is that? That's because if we look under our attack power, we've got physical damage 112 plus 10, right? That's your spear. That's Like the torch has 97 fire damage on top of any other damage you put on it, right? So it's automatically fire damage, which is great against a multitude of enemies. The downside is it doesn't have very good range. Its moveset's kind of meh, but there are other torches in the game that are actually pretty good. And this is an initial sort of, if you're taking on wolves or taking on those monkey men, I forget what they're called. I always forget what they're called. But you know what I mean? The ones that go screamy ones. They are actually very susceptible to fire. So this is actually a pretty cool weapon. So we're not going to like invest smithing stones in. We're not going to level it up. I've never actually. I mean, you could. I've never actually tried, but there's better torches if we were going to do that. But pretty short term, yeah, it's a pretty good weapon. So we're going to hang on to that. Now, where are we at now? Jesus Christ, this video is getting long. So we got to follow where we're going. Yeah. That was the soldier god. It was that first boss in the Red Comedy before. But he actually, very first one of these I killed, actually dropped his armor. Not so lucky this time. But he did drop a smithing stone. That's kind of cool. There is some stuff to farm here, but we don't actually want to. Let's kill this guy. We get some cuckoo blades. These are more for a dex build than us, but they are still relatively fun. So kill him. R1 spam for the win. Yeah, these guys. This is resin. This is very good. I say root resin. Yeah, this is good if you want to apply greases, weapon greases to your weapons and whatnot. So it's actually pretty useful. But what I want to do is actually, I don't want to clear this dungeon out just for the. Let's kill this guy because he's annoying me. Hey. Stun him, and there's some more root resin in there. But the reason being, what we want to do is actually, there's actually some fun stuff to farm both in the cage, and this is a great little spot for some early game, like farming items. I want the mushrooms. Mushrooms are key for our fire pot. Any pot you need, whatever it be, you will need the mushrooms. So you always want a healthy supply of those, and then see the smoldering butter float, whatever else you want to make the pot. Now this cave has also got cave boss here, and silver firefly, and it's a good early game boss, but he's a bit much for us right now. We can take, actually not. I mean, we can take him if you want, but I'm going to do a couple of things before we do that, and I actually want access to some fire bots. I'll show you why they can be quite useful. But what we're going to do is such a sort of grace, just so we can activate it, so we can teleport back here later today. Because we are going to clear. We're not going to get around to this episode, but the next episode we're certainly going to clear some early game caves, get some runes, get some gear, get this build underway. So I'm actually itching. Now it started, I'm actually itching. What have I got? But nothing. You tight bastard. Yeah, I'm very keen to get the game underway now and just get stuck into the series. I've got the Elden Ring bug. So we've all been there, right? Especially with a brand new character, new build. I don't know why I keep collecting early flags. You use those to build the fell called finger recipes or remedies, what the fuck they're called. I don't. Yeah. We're not going to run in there, guns blazing. We're just going to. Actually gonna just all we want to do is activate the Tide of Grace because we will meet a key NPC that will be with us for quite a chunk of the game. We'll also get access to our horse Torrent. You have to put up. She does waffle on a bit, but I want to get this bit done. So.
Greetings, traveler from beyond the fog. I am Melina. I offer you an accord. Have you heard of the Finger Maidens? They serve the two fingers, offering guidance and aid to the tarnished. But you, I am afraid, are maidenless. I can play the role of maiden, turning runes into strength to aid you in your search for the Elden Ring. You need only take me with you to the foot of the Erdtree.
Accept.
Then it's settled. Summon me by grace to turn runes into strength. Ah, another matter. I bequeath to you this ring.
This will allow us to summon our spectral steed, Torrent, who's our horse for all intents and purposes. Now, I don't want to talk too much. I think she waffles on a bit more.
Use it to traverse great distances. It will summon a spectral steed named Torrent. Torrent has chosen you. Treat him with respect.
Okay, now, as before mentioned, we can now have a new option at Sod of Grace, which means level up. I'm not going to do it here because she'll just talk more. I really don't like listening to this woman. She annoys me so much. We'll get rid of her eventually, but she is useful in the short term. At various points of the game, she has little stories to tell us. She waffles on a bit. Much like me, actually. So, we don't have enough room to level up in any case, so we're going to leave this for now. Let's say goodbye. Bye-bye. Melina. This is the Gate from Ruins, which is a great little early farming spot. We're going to ignore this for now. I'll cover this in the next episode. But what I want to do now, jump down, change our equipment, quick loadout. So we're going to pop in, no, we want pop the blue ones first. Pop in those, and then next we want to use our steed like so. And just demonstrate Torrent. Yeah, this is amazing. Look at him running around. Woo. This will allow us to run. We're going to be using this to run around and pick up some key gear later on. It just makes life a lot easier, especially to avoid enemies and things. And it's quite intuitive. You can just kind of hop on him, hop on, hop off, as you will. Now, we're coming up to the end. All I really want to do next is jump down to... We also want to come back here later on, but we're going to go down to our friend, not Barry, Churchavella, and speak to Carly again. Or we don't actually want to speak to him, but this will trigger another little story event. We get this stuff out of the way soon, early, and then we'll set up to start tackling some content beginning next episode, which is what I really want to do. I want to get stuck to the bones of this game, you know. Let's get on it. So,
This way, Tarnished. May I have a word?
just say hello, mysterious lady.
A pleasure to meet thee, Tarnished. I am the witch Renna. I'd heard tell of a Tarnished hurtling about atop a spectral steed, and upon looking into the matter, the talk, I surmise, is of thee. Thou art possessed of the power, no? To call forth a spectral steed named Torrent.
I can call the spectral steed.
As I had hoped, I was entrusted this for thee, by Torrent's former master.
Spirit calling bell. Now we will talk through that in just a moment. And she also gives us the Lone Wolf Ashes, which is our first summon, which is good. So, yeah.
'Tis a bell for calling forth spirits. Summon them with it. From ash and return to the Erdtree, the spirits will obey thine command but briefly, as they recall battles past. Now it is thine, to do with as thou wishest.
So I shall say.
Forgive mine intrusion, Tarnished. I doubt we shall again meet. But all the same, learn well the lands between. How long will it be, I wonder, before the Tarnished tire of obeisance to the two fingers?
There you go. So she's actually quite an important character. It's Rani, the wizard, witch. she's integral to the story. She has a pretty impressive quest line herself. Not as good for us because obviously we are not a. She's done like the mage quest line, if you like, or we are more incantation based. But still, thanks to her quest line, we get access to some really cool areas of the game later on. We don't need that right now. But what she has given us, most importantly, is Spirit Calling Bell, which does summons. Now, our very first one we've got is the Lone Wolf Ashes here. So, in fact, what we'll do, we'll rearrange our equipment again. You'll find I'll do this quite frequently. I just can't help myself. And depending on the situation, it's quite important to do that because you want these quick access slots, right? And if you have to spend hours cycling through, it's not very quick. So, we'll set up like this for now. We can't actually summon the wolves here, but we'll show you those next episode. But summons are quite integral to this game. There are some, well, we all know the Mimic. There are some really good ones later on. I'm going to try and utilise a few different types to display them, because last time we ended up... I mean, obviously the Mimic is like the most powerful thing ever. There are others we can use, and I kind of want to just sort of showcase as much of the game as possible, because I love this game, man. And the more I play it, the more I learn. And the more I learn, the more I want to learn more, you know? And talk about it and share it and just enjoy it with myself and the rest of you. So that's it for me for now. We've covered as much as we can. We are closing in on an hour, or nearly. I think this probably will be about 50 minutes when I'm done with this episode. So that's enough for introduction. It's quite a lot. Next episode we've got a lot to do. We're going to start clearing through some content, get some early talismans, and really get the build underway. We've got to prepare ourselves to be able to tackle some bosses, obviously, and we need to build up some talisman options. We also need some more incantations, so we need memory slots. There's lots of things to do in the next 2-3 episodes. But for now, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye now.